you money.
I ain't changed much. Owe me, then you better pay. I'm from the slums and I'm self-made. Know I'll be a kingpin right around the 12th grade. Or maybe in the 10th. I was running around bent, stashing money in the vent. If you wanna make a deal, let me know my percent. Good with the math, good with a hammer and a mask. If you don't know me, you better ask. See the ghost coming, better dash. Keep your foot on the gas, better mash.
Yeah, me and Styles on it. Hot coals or a burning fire, I could walk a mile on it.
Let's get right to it. You guys asked about some stocks, so I want to go over them for you. The first one is Tesla. Tesla is getting very close to breaking this all-time high. It's one of the reasons I keep telling you guys, any company that you believe in, you need to hold for 5 years minimum, ideally 10. In 2022, I'm going to start screaming at you. If you believe in it, hold it for 10 years if it is quality. You can see around this time here earlier this year, it came down to the 530s, not once, but twice on 2 different months. Please put in chat, what are historically the worst months for Tesla? Those are the months, if you are a newbie, you should be looking to acquire the most shares of this amazing company. And do I think there's a bunch of things they can do better with the cars? Yes. Is there things that they can do to improve the manufacturing process? Yes. Do they still need another great operator like Tim Cook when Steve Jobs was in the title of CEO? Yes. But for right now, they are dominating. Let's go look at Affirm, because you guys have been asking about this. It's been on a great run to the upside. For those of you that are using this yearly open, you got to wait till at least 90 bucks and 90 cents. Later tonight, I'll give you a price. But for right now, Affirm is taking off to the upside. Right now, do not chase. Another one of my favorites, Amazon. Amazing. Yes. So you can write yes. I told you guys to wait for coin to drop to a certain price. And got there. Went to the upside. You have to wait again until it pulls back until at least 230 before you look to get in. ANY is another stock you guys asked me about. No, it's a penny. No good. If you look back here, you can see a few years ago, the price was at $184. It's now at $7.94. Please do not touch. Fuel cell. No good. Maybe good for a swing trade. Excuse me. Maybe good for a swing. And if you guys want to exit at 11.28, great, but I would not hold it for long term. Snap has been taken off to the upside. One of the ones that I missed, I got an interesting theory about Snapchat, but I'll save that for another time. Netflix has been running off to the upside, of course. Great company. And of course, Squid Games helped that company a hell of a lot. They are saying that Squid Games alone should make $900 million by the end of this year. And once merchandise and possibly a game comes from it, it could total $2.5 billion in total. Yes, I like Netflix a lot. BODE, do not touch. It is a dumpster fire. NNDM, do not touch. And SPCE, oh baby, don't touch. You need to wait till like 1470 before you're looking to load the boat on that again. Do not touch. And let's go through some of the big boys. Of course, 2 tech, 2 index, no stress. It's a formula I created, me and only me. Apple is a definite go. I'll give a price tonight. Microsoft, my baby, doing incredibly well. Yes. Google is one that's not talked about enough, but Google, both in GOOGL, are both absolutely amazing. Amazon, yes. Facebook, if you're already in, I would hold it, but before then, if you're not in already, I would not touch. Tesla, we've covered. Berkshire Hathaway, I think it's better off to get an index. Nvidia is at 222 as of right now. Nvidia is amazing. 2 of my favorites, Nvidia and AMD, absolutely. Let's look at JP Morgan. JP Morgan may be one of the only banking stocks that I like. Them and Ally are the only 2 that I really love in the banking space. Anything else, I would be looking at fintech. Visa is not talked about enough, but I've told you guys, if you're going to make an index of your own or ETF of your own, you should pair Visa and MasterCard together. Visa is doing incredibly well. And of course, if we look over since inception, you can see The low of Visa in 2009 was $10.45. It is currently at $232.09. Please put 10-year hold is the best way to accumulate wealth in an easy fashion. Stop looking to hold for a short period of time. Look to hold for a long period of time. If you want to be rich, if you want to be broke, hey, hold on to it for a shorter period of time. The choice is yours. United Health is incredibly strong. I like United for this space. One of the few that I actually like. Let's look at Walmart really quick. Walmart, solid. Home Depot, very good. Target in a retail space, amazing. Tremendous upside there to be gained. Let's look at Procter & Gamble. Procter & Gamble, solid. If you were using this yearly open to get in, you would have got in at 139.91. It's at 142, so you're up a few percentage points. Not the best of breed, but pretty damn solid. And if you compare it to, let's say, Apple, you can see the open was here at 132 and it's at 145. So that yearly open is a good place. If it's above it a lot, let's look at Nvidia in comparison. Look how much Nvidia has pulled away from where it opened at. So it opened at 131.04. This year, it's at 222. Quality stocks are going to pull away from where they opened at for the year and stay up and to the right. Let's go look at Adobe. Adobe is solid. There are a couple better players in the space. Nike is solid on the retail side, but if I have to pick between them and Target, I'm going to pick Target. So when you're looking at a category, you can't just say, well, Nike sells shoes and apparel. You have to compare them against everyone in their class potentially. Target also sells clothes and shoes and other items, and they have more retail stores. So the growth of that company is great, but Nike is a safe company, of course, if you want to get in it. And if you're already in it, I would definitely hold on to. A legacy company, Accenture, not talked about a lot. They're at $343.08. Probably going to break their all-time high by end of year. And if we go look historically at the chart since inception, the low, once again, 1130. It is at 343. 10-year holds are the best time frame that you want to hold if you definitely want wealth in your favor. Let's look at Lilly. Lilly is doing pretty good. Let's look at Pepsi. Don't love Pepsi. It's solid. Them and Coca-Cola are pretty good companies, but I would not make them A tier stock. They would be B tier stocks. AVGO, which is Broadcom, it's solid. Costco, amazing. In a retail space, if I had to pick three, I would probably pick Home Depot, Costco, and Target is my three. If I were looking for three only to get in that will cause me the least amount of stress. Merck, wouldn't touch. Had a good spike. I mean, there are other companies in that space that I think are a hell of a lot better. The only thing that troubles me is this long exaggerated period when they were down. So it went from $96 and it fell all the way down to 20. Management has done a great job. It's clawing its way back. If you've gotten in since 2010, 2012, you're great. Even if we look here in 18, the open was at $56.42. You would be up, but there are a couple of players in that space that are a hell of a lot better. And one of the ones I recommended to Stock Club was Moderna. And Moderna, if you look at it, has been outperforming that like crazy in comparison. So I wouldn't touch Merck right now. ABBV, I will leave alone. Texas Instruments, not talked about enough. It's not one of the sexiest companies that you will ever come across. They used to be more dominant in the 90s, but if you look at from where they opened, 165.37, they're at 195.18, and they are slowly moving up and to the right. You want your stocks to move up and to the right, and you want it to have growth to the upside. You don't want to have anything with heavy drawdowns and it's going down consistently. Like I've always said, you want the stocks that you're invested in to move in the direction you want your bank account to move, and that is up, 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 and to the right. And let's look at Medtronic last. No, I wouldn't touch Medtronic. And if we zoom out, it's had a great run to the upside. But if you look, tell me in chat, what does Medtronic do as a company? Going back to that mind share, If the majority of people do not know what a company does, I prefer not to touch it unless they have a unique selling proposition or an exclusive promise statement that only they can achieve. And this isn't one of them.
In 4 days since we bought it. We bought it on about 4 days ago. So that's actually made a nice little move in the short term, probably a little extended right now, but longer term, that's a good looking name. Very powerful, very strong earnings. These stocks are acting.
What do they do?
Really
I don't even know them. What do they do?
Excuse me?
What does Upstart do?
Well, I'm sorry.
What kind of company is it?
Yeah, I'm not. You're breaking up.
Oh.
So if we look at Upstart, and this is it's easy to make fun, and the truth is, in that moment, he should have just said, "Hey, I'm not familiar with what the company does, but I thought it was a good trade. That's why I'm holding on to it." That would have totally sufficed. But whenever we try and act as if we don't know what's going on, that's when our credibility can take a hit. So for those of you who are, and shout out to Ash Cash for posting this, but let it be a lesson for all of us that if we ever get caught in a situation where we don't know the answer, it is okay to just say, I don't know. And if we're looking at the futures market, this is the S&P 500 future. So let's just draw a couple of levels here real quick. And this is just a basic channel. So this is the high up here. And you can see in October, we kept bleeding down. This is why it's really key to have your levels marked off. And I told you, September and October are historically two of the worst months. So you would expect November, December, January to be great. You can see when everyone was panicking, these are some good areas to buy. So even around that 43.10 area, if you could have got in at 42.99, that would have been a great place to swing trade or then hold SPY. So if we look at SPY, we can see the same kind of levels we were down. So like at 428, that would have been a good entry to be able to get into the market. You can now see that we're at 446.93. So if you're looking at the S&P 500 futures, it will give you an indication of where the market is going to go, which will help you be able to get better entries for your long-term investment. And because of the ETF that is debuting tomorrow, unless they shoot it down at the last minute, Bitcoin top 60,000 as investors bet on the ETF. And because people want a safe way to be able to get into this market, we finally may have one way. Now, there's some flaws in it, but let's see if they shoot it down first at the last minute, and then we can talk about it more in detail next week. And I want to say this again. The futures market is what everyone thinks crypto is. The thing that keeps people away from the futures market, which is another reason why I love it, is because it takes some time to master it. But this ETF is going to be tied to the Bitcoin futures price, not the actual underlying asset as it should be, but it's a good way into the door. The thing I will tell you, if you guys go look at the future, if you're on TD Ameritrade, you can go look at /BTC. You will be able to see how it moves, how the market will be affected, and it will give you a great insight for how fast or slow the ETF will move. A lot of you are asking, hey, what do you think? Should I add it to my portfolio? I'm going to say, as I do with any other initial coin that comes out, any IPO, wait 60 days before you jump in, because you want to jump in at the best price. You don't want to jump in just because. Now, if you're going to hold it for 10 years, no matter what, the day that you get in does not matter. But if you are not disciplined, and here's the way to know if you're disciplined. Have you only stuck to 2 tech, 2 index, or if you're in stock club, have you only stuck to the ones that were given to you? If yes, you can buy it and hold it for 10 years. If not, wait for a better entry. So it says here, a 75-day review process by the SEC. And if there are no objections, everything should be fine and it should be clear for trading. Let's look to see what happens next week. I thought this was pretty fascinating. So remember a few months ago, I told you that Square and a couple other companies had begun to invest in Bitcoin to put it as a revenue driver in their company and on their top line. And some people thought it wouldn't work. I thought it was brilliant. If you are familiar with Jack and his track record, you should have known that this is going to pan out well. And for the company They have doubled their money since investing in Bitcoin. And this is why I tell all entrepreneurs and business owners, listen up. Do a comparison of how much return your employees or staff are giving you versus if you invested in some of these companies. Now, I'm not talking about the Fortune 100, but I'm talking about those of you that may have what some will call small business. I like to call an emerging empire. And a lot of times people are like, well, I don't have the money to invest in Apple, Microsoft, AMD, Tesla, NVIDIA, VOO. This is a scholarship. VTI, QQQ, right? And I'll say, well, you have money to pay an employee or consultant and they're not guaranteeing a return for you. I think every company on earth should be adding investing to their revenue as a driver, if not, especially now with the labor force being at one of its lowest points in the last 100 years, your business could be in imminent danger and you may not even know it. So kudos to Jack for that. Jack also says Square may add Bitcoin mining. Now, there's two sides of this coin. If the investment has worked, it is pretty smart to add mining. My only thought is if there's a chip shortage and it takes a certain amount of processing power to mine Bitcoin, and let's say all these companies are becoming a race to get the last of the assets or coins available in Bitcoin, right? If it was as profitable as everyone thought it would be, then why has not AMD, NVIDIA, or even Micron done the same by now? So whenever you want to understand if something is a good strategic move for your business, you have to go look at the top companies. Don't look on Instagram and don't even look to me for advice. Follow the top 5, 10, 15 businesses worldwide to see what they're doing. But I think Jack may be innovating here. But I wonder if it's going to be as profitable as he suspects. Why wouldn't AMD, NVIDIA, and TSM do the same thing? So remember when I called Bitcoin at 39,847.70? If you would have invested since then, and we gave it out on the show for free, and I put it out on my Instagram and Twitter, you would be up 6,500%. So from the low of 2020, Bitcoin now being at 61,000 has went up 1,100% plus. So a lot of times the gap that needs to be closed from being rich to wealthy or getting by to getting rich, a lot of times it's just execution. So I do my damnedest to give my all to us every single week. If I've made you money, put yes in chat. I'm going to be real. We're going into the new year and I want you guys to start planning as if today is December 31st and start making your goals. If you have not invested in Apple, Microsoft, VOO, VTI, VGT, Bitcoin when I call 39, Bitcoin when I call 28, Cardano and Kayla call 191, please tell me why. Please tell me why. And for those of you who did, amazing job. And since that 28,000 call out, we're looking at 200% return on that. Disclaimer, please do not copy, remix, reproduce my material without written permission to do so, or legal action will be taken. All of the content shared here is mine exclusively. I am for the culture, but this is my intellectual property. 2Tech, 2Index, I created. All the ATMs that I shared with you guys, I created. Please use them for your own benefit, but don't teach them to anyone else, or my lawyer will have to do what he does. Let's get Market Mondays to number 1 on the chart so I can finally give away these 1,000 scholarships to Stock Club. I would love that. Please share this with 5 of your friends, have them subscribe and rate it 5 stars. Join the Stock Club. So if you want the 4 best stocks for your retirement, the best places to get into called out by me, the 2 places where to get into the market, 28 bonus picks on the year, and next year I'm adding 53 more things to the table for Stock Club, and you'll be able to have a chance to get into the deals that I'm in as well. So join the Stock Club. They can put the link in the bio, or you can go to join Red Panda, but the link will be in the bio for you. For my podcasters with Top Podcasts, if you need a sponsor for your show, I know a guy, me, that may be interested. Kudos to Schultz and Charlemagne. If you tune in to Brilliant Idiot, some of you were surprised. Email me, ian@joinredpanda.com if you need a sponsor for your show. Subscribe to my YouTube and join Red Panda so you can get all updates there as well. So this is what causes the market to fall. Uncertainty. Please put uncertainty in chat. So whenever people are unsure about global macroeconomic conditions, the macro environment of what is happening across the world, or if we're going to go to war, that uncertainty creates volatility. That volatility then creates risk. So then all of a sudden companies that were safe, like Facebook, become not as safe, and then they draw back 19-20%, right? And then the whistleblowing things and it can start a domino effect that can have a negative effect on your portfolio. Now, if you zoom out over time, look 10, 20, and especially for those of you that are looking to invest 50 years, it won't matter in the grand scheme of things. But for those of you that are worried about week to week moves, that risk then creates fear. And then when we get fear into the market, people sell off like crazy. Now you go from a logical base of saying, hey, this is a great company, I need to hold it. You'll then say, I need to sell this, because what if this turns into 2008 all over again? The truth is, whenever that kind of risk level event happens, you won't know until it's too late. And this is why I tell you, when a market is good, like it is now, it is then your time to begin looking to see what is the absolute worst thing that can happen to the market. And if hell breaks loose on the market, when should I get in? And then after that, people are fearful. They sell off like crazy. They get hurt. And then the people that are smart pick up those shares, and then they run the market back to the upside. And then those that sold their shares off too early are then upset, and then they end up buying at highs, and that cycle repeats itself. So the conditions that we need to have a safe market is certainty, stability, happiness, and we're not overextended. When you have that, you have a beautiful environment. But uncertainty and certainty is a cycle that we go through, like winter, spring, summer, all the time. Please be mindful of that. As far as intellectual property, NDAs have been signed. Please do not use my material, please. I love you. And college athletes, I want to sponsor you. So email me, ian@joinredpanda with the subject line NIL, and I'll be happy to chat with you. So I told you guys a couple months ago that I had a theory about some of the people who may own the majority of crypto. And this past week, Vladimir Putin says that crypto can now become a legitimate payment in the next couple of years. I'll let you guys do your research, and I'll say, told you so. 4.3 million people quit their jobs in August. And I talked about it last week, but there needs to be a lot more done to create environments. We are in an era where things are changing. COVID exposed what was really important, and that's time with family, peace of mind, health, happiness. Now, for those of us that have been working at home, we've known this forever, but I think the world has finally woken up to how important this is. Employers, I'm going to go back to you. They need automation. They need more time off. I honestly think you should let people work from home more often. And I know you think it may kill morale, but it's getting to a point where you can't even pay people to take jobs. People are actively turning down $25 an hour jobs. Now, the other side of that coin is, if people don't begin taking these jobs, is going to be the main reason that they push AI even further and push automation even further and say, hey, we tried to get people to work and we're begging the government to give all these incentives and people won't even come to work. Let's go completely automate it as much as we can, and let's kill all the jobs that we need to. This is why I tell you, like, we are at a war. We are in a war right now at an inflection point that could be very dangerous. And then when this next recession hits, that could be the complete tipping point that takes a lot of people out of the job market forever. Build your business now. And that's why I always stressed last year, you needed 28 streams of revenue. Could crypto cause a 2000 level meltdown? If another meltdown happens, it won't be solely because of crypto. I know that it may be the scapegoat. People may say it got too hot, too fast, ran up too fast. And for all of you that are saying crypto is a hedge, if crypto is in tandem with the indexes, and it's not decentralized how everyone wished that it would be. Crypto and Bitcoin in particular would get the blame for why we had a crash. But housing in combination, plus the job market being tough, plus all the debt that we have as a nation, are a couple of key factors that will lead to us potentially crashing in 24. I saw this one online and I thought it was pretty good. And if I had the choice to invest in Google, Bitcoin, and Microsoft versus Apple, Tesla, and Ethereum, which one would I pick? And I want to show you how to easily analyze it. So if you look at the last 5 years, Microsoft return is 414%. Google is 245%, but then let's go down here and let's go. So you want to compare the last 5 years and hit calculate. Now look at the return. You're looking at an annual return of 248%, but the total return is astonishing. So whenever you're comparing three stocks or three indexes or currencies or anything or any investment, you want to look at the last 5 years and then divide them by the number that you have in comparison and see which one ranks higher. The second thing you want to do is then look at how much does it draw down. Now, truth be told, over any 5-year period, whatever the drawdown is on Bitcoin is small in comparison to the return that you're going to get. So over that 5-year period, if you average those three out, you're looking at 3,339% return over a 5-year period, which is pretty damn amazing. I love Apple dearly, love Ethereum, love Tesla, but you cannot argue which gains are better when you compare these three. And I posted this last week. I want to help 50 artists and entertainers. I want to teach them how to be able to make millions for free. And I know some of you were like, hey, teach me. Don't teach them. They have millions. Truth be told, most artists and entertainers make less money than a corporate middle manager. Because once you get a person into the entertainment business, and what this is going from the 1890s through now, no matter how much an artist, athlete, or entertainer may make in less than 10 years, they're usually broke. That's not solely because of their doing. A lot of it is how the system is set up. So I want you to go tag your favorite artists, tell them to tune in to Market Mondays right now. But if any of you are watching and you need help, when I say free, I mean free. And those of you that I'm helping already, I appreciate you. But I want to help you guys learn how to invest. Because I hate seeing some of our favorite artists, entertainers, a couple of years after their biggest hit, biggest movie, or biggest career move, end up being broke and or destitute. The U.S. replaces China as the world's biggest Bitcoin miners, and I think that's interesting. China hates it all of a sudden, and we've replaced them. I think one of the things that we have to teach early on is coding, mining, software development, etc., because this is really a digital race. And Khan Academy is a good resource for you parents that wants to teach your kids, but our kids have to know how to get into these spaces, because I fear in another 8 or 10 years that the job market will be cut in half again. And definitely we have not fully recovered since 2007 and 8. And this shocked me. In the midst of a chip shortage, Global Foundries found a way to lose money as a chip maker. So not only is AMD and NVIDIA having issues, TSM is having issues, but this is why it's really important when you're looking at a space, because one would think, okay, great, there's a chip shortage. If I invest in them, they'll be fine. But this is why you have to do the homework, do the research, look to see how much revenue a company is generating to make sure that it is actually a good investment. Who would have thought they would have lost money in this market? That's unbelievable. For many weeks, some of you have been asking my thoughts on IIPR. So let's check out the charts and I can tell you what and I originally talked about this a few months ago. I still like it. The open was at 184. It's at 241 right now. The growth looks incredible. The growth looks absolutely incredible. I will continue. This is one of the only ones in the marijuana space that I like. I wish I knew the brother's name who first put this on my radar last year, but I still like it. And if you can see, the open last year was at $77.87. The growth on it has been absolutely phenomenal. If you stay to the very end of the show before we close out, I promise you to give you an entry for IIPR. But right now, I do love it. And I can't lie, when I saw this chart, I was like, damn, this is hell of a return. This is from 2010 to 2018. The annual monthly returns of Bitcoin. So for those of you who are like, yo, you're a crypto hater, man, listen, I'm in my fields that my shit got stolen. And you can see why. So January, 10%, just a little bit above. February and March are pretty smooth. April and May, historically, averages out to about almost 40%. So like 35.5%. You can see we start to taper off. And August and September usually are the worst months for it. If you look over this 8-year period, then October and November is amazing. November usually gives, on average, not saying it will this year, 60% gains. But we're in October now. With this ETF debuting tomorrow, unless they shut it down or deny it, if this ETF looks positive and hedge funds begin to add it, we could have a historic November in Bitcoin, and then December it begins to taper off. So December, January, February, March, solid. April and May booms. The summer months it tapers off and then goes to the upside. But these are some amazing returns if you're looking month or after month. And this is why I keep telling you guys, once you have an investment that you love, the most important thing you need to do is pour money into it. Once you've done your analysis and you love it, don't move. 10 years, ideally 20 years, even better, 30 years, even better. Continue to hold for the long term. And even the ports are being affected by AI. You have to realize that in the supply chain issue, one of the issues that is not being talked about enough is not enough people are being hired to work the ports, because they are slowly testing AI doing all the infrastructure and all the deliveries on these ports. We have to be very careful because we're living in very tricky times, and during every crisis there's usually a couple of tricks that are pulled out of someone's sleeve to rush in a new wave. I don't ever think, especially with the wages going up and the minimum hourly pay going up, I don't think we'll ever get back to a place where we see majority of America back at work at one time. China, I told you guys before, and I know everyone said, hey, just because one developer has had issues doesn't mean that it's going to be the new Lehman. I understand. Did you guys go check out to see what's happening with the second leading developer in China and the third leading developer? If you have, please put it in chat. But China right now has at least 65 million empty homes. So this is reminding me of 2007 and 2008. And it may take another 4 years before shit really hits the fan and all of a sudden things begin to crumble, and it has an effect on the entire world economy. The part about this that sucks, this is 1/5 of all homes on that continent are empty because they developed too fast. If that doesn't remind you of Vegas and Florida in 2007 and 2008, and then you can just call me crazy, but I think something is brewing. And when you look at the Pyramid of Giza, there's a reason I'm bringing this up. The Great Pyramid of Giza was created at the exact center of Earth's landmass. So if you look, the Great Pyramid is a unique, fascinating, and incredibly complex ancient structure. But I keep telling you guys, there's a reason why I've been bringing up the pyramids. So if you look at the points in which, I'll cover that next week. I don't want to go there. I want to get this knocked off YouTube. And kudos to Roy and Mal for signing their deal. They did a $10 million deal with Stitcher. I got a question for y'all though. So we've been doing the show almost 2 years. And if we made you money, put yes in chat. If I made you money, put yes in chat. If their deal, if Rogan's deal was 200 million, 250, Roy and Mal's deal at Stitcher was 10, what is Market Mondays worth? Let me know. I'm asking for a particular set of reasons. Because if we, the culture, have made this show incredibly popular, let's say hypothetically, let's say if we get an offer for XYZ, it would be pretty damn dope if the culture could get involved in the monetization and sale of, wouldn't it be? Hey, the top lessons from my undefeated September and October thus far, and I want to share with you, there are some burdens that come with chasing a record. So in September, coming off of an amazing August of going undefeated as well, the thing that I want to stress to you is that most of you only need 1 to 2 trades a week. Monday and Friday are the days you should trade during prime time only. I would tell you right now, for those of you that want to chase this goal, and we've seen it in sports. So like when Brady went 16-0 with Randy Moss, you end up putting yourself in a position where you focus more on the record than you do at just executing flawlessly. I can't lie. Having this undefeated streak is putting some pressure, and I'm now beginning to overthink my trades a little bit too much. I would rather have a small loss that is a nick on my portfolio opposed to being paralyzed. And I'm not at the point that I'm paralyzed, but I know for some of you, when you get on a win streak and hit 12, 13, 14 trades in a row, you then are saying, damn, can I do it? Or if you have not cleaned up everything in your psyche, you may have some self-sabotaging genes there that may cause you to want to take trades that will not be in your favor. So focus, please write this down. Focus on profitability. Focus on following your process, and realize in order to make big money, you don't have to be undefeated in order to do so. We are going through, we've talked about it with water. We're going through a water crisis. This morning, even Kayla was talking about moving to Henderson, and she said one of her friends moved there, and they have actually began selling their house because of the water crisis there. We're having a bunch of supply chain issues. The next biggest issue that we're going to have is food deserts at scale in the United States, and we're now beginning to enter a food crisis. I try not to give any advice too often, but I will say the majority of people need to learn how to plant, garden, and grow some of their own food in case things get as bad as they could in the next 10 to 15 years. Tesla's moving to Texas. I've been telling you guys for a year, hey, if you're in California and New York, you should come to Texas. We're getting pretty damn full. But Tesla is going to move its headquarters to Texas, and I think that's pretty damn amazing. Quiz time. In 2 sentences, I want you to explain to me, what is blockchain? The best answer, I will give you a Cash App prize tonight. And last year we talked about quantitative easing as a way to offset some of the things that happened in 2020. I've also talked to you about the Benner cycle as a way to predict a recession. Also talked about the inverted yield curve as the best way to predict a recession. But the fourth best way to predict if a recession is going to come is the Federal Reserve Bank of New York's recession probability model. You can Google it, and the first thing I'll tell you is I would say go look at the maximum history. Go look at a minimum of 50 years to see how accurate this was. Now, it's not 100%, but if you use the inverted yield curve with Benner cycle with this, and if for those of you who don't know, we talked about it the beginning of this year and the end of last year. So go back and watch previous episodes of Market Mondays to be able to get all the insights and details that you need. But the Federal Reserve Bank of New York's recession probability model is something that I will keep on my radar to know when the next one is going to happen. These are the largest market caps in the world. Number 1, my baby, Apple. Number 2, Microsoft. Number 3, we got a company that is not talked about enough that is slowly climbing up the ladder. Number 4, Google. 5, Amazon. 6, Facebook. 7, Tesla. And my God, if Tesla gets a great operator, or maybe about 7 or 8 more members on their team, they will be off to the races to be in that top 5. Number 10, one that Troy's talked about a lot, TSM. Number 11, Nvidia. 12, Visa. Number 13, JP Morgan. Number 14, Alibaba. And I will argue if Alibaba was not in China and was in the United States, it would probably be in the top 6 or 7. Let's look at MS versus BlackRock versus Caterpillar. And Caterpillar is solid, very good company, historically always has been, but I like BlackRock even though it's pricey. And MS is very good. Very, very good. There's not many in that space that I love, but that is one of them. For right now, I will stay away from Caterpillar and I will focus on these two here. And I want to stress this. Relationships are the best investment. And I'm not just talking from a pure romantic standpoint. I'm talking about your friendships, the relationship with your siblings, your friends. And my goal for this show, of course, last year was to give you the best advice that you needed during a recession so you wouldn't lose everything. But you guys have seen that I've talked about a couple of other areas. And the thing that I am noticing because of the recession that hit, people are still recovering and have PTSD from being alone for such a long period of time. And this is why I think these meet and greets and meetups are important. But I'm going to stress to you, spend time with those that you love every single day. Like, I think as a culture, we need to get back to having a weekly dinner, weekly hangout, checking in on each other. Because I was having this conversation because people were like, hey, how are you going to keep your phone off 12 hours a day? And I'm like, it's easy. Turn it off and put it away. The first 2 or 3 hours are the hardest. But if you're connecting with people that you love, it is not that difficult, because at the end of the day, when you're on your deathbed or you lose someone, you're not going to be like, damn, I should have uploaded that video to IG, or I should have been on TikTok a little bit longer. But these companies, and Cal Newport's Digital Minimalism book is a great reference point if you need one. But these companies have engineered us to be addicts to these fucking devices. And you're going to look up and you're going to say, man, I wasted 5 years debating with people on if Kobe or LeBron were better in the 2008 season. And in the grand scheme of things, it won't matter. And your sons, daughters, nieces, and nephews will grow up right in front of you, and you would have missed that time. Please do not be an addict. Many of you will often brag about, because the fentanyl issue is bigger than what people are even talking about. And I hope that gets solved very soon. But people will brag about not doing drugs and turn around and be addicts to the devices that they bought from Apple. And I don't think that is the right investment that we need to make for our mental health. Banksy sells for 25 million at the art auction. So I know NFTs are the hottest thing on earth, but the art space is heating up, and Banksy has one of the biggest and best brands. It's a hell of a sell. And I want to remind you, this is a great post I saw from James Clear. There are 4 types of wealth. 1, financial wealth, which is money. Number 2, social wealth, which is status. Number 3, time wealth, which is freedom. Number 4, physical wealth, which is health. But be wary of jobs that lure you into 1 and 2, which is status and money, but rob you of 3 and 4. And I was having conversations today, this morning, and people were like, hey, a couple people were like, hey, I reached out to you. I didn't get a reply. I need your help. And I'm like, you have to realize, as much as we try to be cyborgs and robots, we aren't. Sometimes we just need a moment to decompress, to find our joy, find our happiness. Because in life, we're all either trying to get to a peak or we're coming out of a valley. And I need you guys to be mindful of that with every person that you interact with. Not just me. Be kind, because you never know what people are going through. But wealth without all 4 of these, and I can argue number 2, social status, technically in the grand scheme of things, don't matter. But you do want to be able to have health, time freedom, and money to be able to do some of the things you want to do and spend time with those that you love. Those are incredibly important. And we got to give it up for Ye. He officially got his name changed to just Ye, so no more Kanye West. But if we look at his investment strategy for Kim, I mean, you have to admit he did pretty damn good. Disney's up 63%, Adidas up 81%, Apple up 244%, Netflix up 169%. The thing that I want you to understand, though, at a higher level for those that are well-to-do or wealthy, look at the concentrations. Only 4. Kanye had enough money to get her at the time when they were married 80 stocks if needed. But you don't want to thin your reserves out, taking so many risks and praying and spraying and hoping that something is going to go well. I know 99.9% of people focus on diversification because they don't know what they're doing. But when you know you have a hit company, a hit artist, a hit movie, you probably should invest more into it to get bigger gains. 2 tech, 2 index, no stress. Quiz time. What is the return for the year if you've invested in VOO, VTI, Apple, and Microsoft, equally weighted 25% across the board? Please put it in chat. I want you guys to have safety over sensationalism, because a lot of the big moves that were supposed to happen this year end up dying and they were not there. And for my dads, I want to tell you this, for my dads in the future. It's a couple of you in mind, especially Jerry. I love you. I wrote this post in 2009 before I knew Xander was anywhere close to arriving. Begin sacrificing for your child or children now. The rewards that you'll be able to feel and get from them will be like nothing on earth that you've ever experienced. And no, fatherhood or motherhood is not easy. I know you guys see the cute pictures of him and think everything's all easy. My parents will tell you, you can put it in chat, man, parenthood is not easy, but it is worth it. For those of you that are trying to break generational curses, begin working on yourself, your plan, your strategy now, so we can have stronger communities, stronger families, stronger bonds amongst each other in the community and culture. And I think once we look past investing, we have to realize that the money is just a tool to build up our families, our community, our culture, our brotherhood, and our sisterhood with one another. And if you follow this plan, we'll be able to have a much smoother financial life than our parents and grandparents did. So for my fellas out there that want children, that you want a son, want a daughter, begin making the sacrifices now, because in 10 years from now, or 12 or 13 years now, your kids will thank you like no other. I love you guys. Over and out.